So thank you all for coming today and joining us this afternoon for our Bridging for Sustainability event. Today's talks will be focused on Sustainable Development Goals 14 and 15, which are life below water and life on land. And I'll get into a little bit more on what those are in a minute here, but thanks again for coming. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So our team here is with our research and curriculum committee is Nirja Havaliji, Tahira Abbas, Pranoti Deshmukh, Justin Berrio, Jay Pasari, Erica Risberg, and myself. So thanks everybody for all the work that you've done in making these happen, even in the midst of quarantine. So I really appreciate everybody's hard work, and I'm sure everybody else here does too. So thank you for that. So what we're trying to do here is just our efforts are in how do we make our communities more sustainable? You know, I know that I frequently find that in the face of so many hurdles, it can be a little bit difficult to get up in the morning, let alone try and work towards just any sort of progress towards a more sustainable future. Have to remind myself not to let the seeming insurmountability of these global hurdles prevent me from working to understand how they manifest here in Portland and working to address those manifestations. But you know, working together and elevating each other's voices, I think, is a good way to start, and a good way to continue to work towards these positive outcomes that we all seek, addressing, you know, legacies of colonialism and the act of imperialism and resource extraction going on by all of the capitalist governments of the world, and the willful ignorance in the face of such existential threats as climate change and COVID-19 that the governing elites seem like they are adamant to perpetuate. So even with that, despite that ceaseless onslaught of bad news, there is a pretty steady flow of good news as well. You know, the drops in pollution and consumption associated with COVID-19 indicate that human society is adaptable when it needs to be, and that growth-based narratives of prosperity are just myths perpetuated to increase the wealth of shareholders without regard for much else. Important work is being done and shared every day, and keeping up with all these developments in the world of sustainability is a challenge. So, you know, what we are trying to do with this little event series and series of meetings is just raise awareness about the work being done in our own community to address some of these issues. So our goal is to bring people together and talk about sustainability. Who do we want to bring together? We want to bring people interested in making our society more sustainable, and people who actively do the work that it takes to make that happen. In our brainstorming efforts, we identified and created this little diagram to sort of frame our efforts for bringing people together. And we thought that there's this triangle of research, practice, and policy, which of course is a Venn diagram that overlaps significantly in many places. But there are frequently times when people were working on identical goals without knowledge of one another's work, even in the same communities. And so hopefully by facilitating communication between groups working on similar issues, we can raise awareness about the work that's being done and who's doing it. So the way that we go about this is to facilitate these dialogues between these groups working on similar issues and members of the public, concerned citizens that want to learn about that work and support it. So the Sustainable Development Goals are developed by the UN and represent a blueprint to achieve a more sustainable future. Today, we're focusing on SDGs 14 and 15, which are life below water and life on land. And our speakers work on issues associated with the environment and environmental justice. And of course, there's plenty of overlap frequently between many of these other goals as well. So these are kind of just the framing of our goals that of the various events that we have. So our speakers today will be Cassie Cohen and Ibrahim Mubarak with Portland Harbor Community Coalition. PHCC is a group of community groups that works on elevating the most impacted groups in the $1 billion federal cleanup of the 11-mile wide Willamette River Superfund site at Portland Harbor. Kevin Thomas, PhD candidate in urban studies and planning at PSU, and has been working to better link PSU's diversity and cultural services with sustainability programs and efforts on campus and in the community. And lastly, Ryan Rittenhouse with Friends of the Columbia Gorge, who and they work to protect the gorge from pollution and polluters and preserve the natural beauty of the gorge while informing and preserving the public about its history. So with that, I will hand this off to Cassie and Ibrahim, and I hope everybody enjoys this, and thanks again for coming.